Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we're taking a look at, from the Transformers Studio series, it's number, I don't even remember what number it is, but this is from the Transformers Bumblebee the movie, B-112, otherwise known as Cybertronian Mode Bumblebee. Now, Bumblebee is a repaint with a new head of the previously released Cybertronian Cliffjumper, who apparently, in the film, got split in half. Unfortunately, that figure can't do that. But as you can see, really the only difference between the two in vehicle mode is the paint. It's the same Cybertronian car design. One thing I will mention is that, at least on my version of Cliffjumper, the gun stays in a lot easier than on Bumblebee. But give you a little look here. A lot of clear plastic that, as I often say, it's not a question of if, but when will break, especially when it comes to the chest hinges and stuff. But other than that, you know, the wheels are the same paint deco, just different colors. I mean, these are Cybertronian Scouts, and I was impressed by how small the figure actually is, and the way and how little space it takes in the box. You know, for a company that's looking to save on packaging, and let me tell you, if half of the ideas they're coming up with come through, it's going to be very bad for Transformer collectors. I think reducing the size of the box and the plastic insert would have been a good idea. So we'll just get Cliffjumper out of the way, and we'll come back and we'll get into the transformation. Okay, so I gone ahead and adjusted the camera. If you haven't already, or if it hasn't already, just remove the gun from underneath. It's supposed to store up in some grooves there in the hood. Basically, you're supposed to be able to lift this whole section up and then put it back down, but in bringing it down to have everything peg into place, you end up having the gun pop out. So your best bet is to try, and it has to sit on an angle to get it in there, but like I said, it usually doesn't work. So go ahead, remove that. Doing so will give you the option, and if you notice, I was having to try and pop things back into place. There is a lot of paint on this figure that makes some of the joints, especially here in the roof, not peg together well. But because it's basically a smoked plastic, some of that gappage kind of gives it a panel-lined look, which is kind of cool. So go ahead and push from underneath, then try to get a thumbnail in, and you're trying to unpeg the front of the car from the feet there, and then this will come folding back and up. You want to get it out from there, and that whole section will hinge back, and then this section will hinge forward. All of that is clear plastic, so again, it's not a matter of if, but when that will break. Now, I do want to mention that this tends to be a little bit stronger joints than, say, on Cliffjumper, so a lot of this is going to not give you as much of a hard time going from robot mode to vehicle mode or back and forth. What I just did now is separate the front here. That's the feet. You now want to unpeg the feet from that section right there and bring it up. Let's, bring the camera in just a little. Don't want to get too close because then it becomes hard to see. But once you have that done, what you can do is bring in, unhook these wheels here, the well, and what you want to do is bring the wheel well around, just like that, on its double hinge, and then flip the wheel itself back around. And in doing so, you'll bring the wheel well back up into position, just like that. Do it again on, actually, I almost screwed, oh yeah, no, we're good. Do it again on this side, same thing, bring it around, bring the wheel back, and just like that. Then you can bring the figure around this way, go ahead and flip down those little ankle covers. They'll cover up the exposed joint. Make sure that, you know, everything is secured in like that. And then what you'll do is these leg panels, which are on the side, you'll unpeg and then swivel down on a double hinge joint that's clear plastic. They really do not want this figure to last, and it is meant, small little tab there, supposed to go into a slot. Well, guess what? That does not hold. So you just try to get it to sit there and yeah, no, not going to work. If it hasn't already, these arms will peg into the waist here. That they're going to unpeg, so you'll just rotate them at the bicep and bring them out ever so slightly. And then what you can do is now open up that back section and then bring down that front section just like that. So you basically have the top of the car just splayed open, and then come in using your fingers, flip up the little panel that the head is on, and then flip the head down all the way. And then what you can do is bring the arms all the way back, and there are two slots on the back that what is now the back that these little spokes will tab into, and that will close up the back and hold everything into place. What you can do now here in the front is open up this chest panel, and the first couple times you do it, it's very tight. Oh, and again, clear plastic on a hinge. Yeah. Fold what was the rear of the car up, and then fold that into the chest there. That will peg into place, and here you have B-112 or Cybertronian Bumblebee in its robot mode. The gun can actually store in the back here. It just slides down and in, just like so. I mean, it doesn't peg or anything. Or you can, of course, peg it into the hand, and it actually is meant to go into the right hand. As you can see, it has that guard there to make it look like it transformed. So let's go ahead and bring in its mold brother, Cliff Jumper. But wait, there's more. As I fiddle with Cliff Jumper a little to get it to stand straight. And you can see, of course, different heads, but the bodies are the same, just different paint. But as I said, there's more, because Cliff Jumper was a repaint retool of Off-Road Bumblebee. So basically what we have here is we have the original Bumblebee figure that was repainted and retooled into Cliff Jumper, who was then repainted with a new head back into a Bumblebee. That has to be a first for any character. I mean, I have never heard this in the 4 decades of collecting Transformers, where you've had one mold retooled into another character who was then repainted back into a variation of the first character. And again, they all have the same gun, held the same way, just different paint jobs. Here, let me take Cliff Jumper out for a second so you can get a better look at the bees here. And basically, if you're not familiar with the off-road mold, the way the retooling happened is what is the front of Off-Road Bumblebee is the rear on B-112 and Cliff Jumper, and vice versa. Obviously, there is a difference in the backpacks and paneling, but the general transformation steps, especially with the chest and the arms, are all basically the same. I do find that overall, the off-road Bumblebee's leg panels come together a lot neater, but then again, you have a lot less shell parts to deal with. But the legs are just a smidge tighter than on Cliff Jumpers, and not nearly as tight as B-112. So, I mean, it's hard to recommend one over the other, but this does give you a nice chance to compare, and you can see how, the silhouettes are basically the same. You have the wheels in the back and all that, and these are all, by the way, very small deluxe figures. I really can't stress that enough. So, just giving you the once over there. You can see the different paneling to create the different car modes and what have you. So, yeah. In terms of articulation, you got ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed hips, hinge at the elbow, hinge at the knee, full rocker ankle articulation. But again, I mean, thankfully the joints aren't using clear parts. It's just the various shell pieces that are, and that those will break down over time. But yeah, so that's really about it for all I have to say about the mold. So we'll come back and, we'll get my final thoughts. Alrighty, so here I am. I'm trying to give you a little bit of an action shot. Kind of hard to pull off when all the guns have to fit in the same hand. So, you do unfortunately have that going on. But yeah, so here we have 3 figures that all basically share the same framework and are all created, and again, Bumblebee to Cliff Jumper, back to Bumblebee. I just, it boggles my mind. I mean, you can see the heavy reliance on Bumblebee, but still, it just really just blows my mind. But yeah, I think it's a good figure. I think B-112 is a good figure. In fact, let me just, that was really for the thumbnail shot right there, but let me just bring in the star. Yeah, I think it's a good figure. I like it. The transformation was a little, I mean, any difficulty in the transformation has to deal with the size of the figure and not really the overall quality. I mean, yes, I'll say it again. You're dealing with clear plastic hinges that are, important parts. The roof and hood of the car. The hinges here on the side panels. Those can and probably will break down over time. That's just the nature of clear plastic. This whole chest piece here is clear plastic on a folding hinge. I mean, it could have been done better, but I think at the price point and scale, it wouldn't have been done better. So yeah, I got this figure from the Command store. They're based out of Champlain, New York. They do have a website that you can look up. They also have an online presence on eBay if you are so interested in picking, getting this figure. Other retailers such as Amazon had this listed as coming out in July, which this is not. It was actually supposed to come out the same time as that Voyager Starscream we just looked at. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, but if you're looking to get it now, Command Store is the best way to go. A little bit more expensive than retail, but shipping is fair, and it's taxes, and I'm sure they had to pay taxes and fees to get it, so it ultimately all works out. But again, solid figure. I like it. Might not be your cup of tea. So if you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, your likes, comments, and subscriptions helps communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel is one that should be held upon high and exalted. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, please consider joining my Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/ChuckDog1999. Let me say it again, www.patreon.com/ChuckDog1999. www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. There is a link in the description below, and as of right now, there is no longer a card here in the corner because YouTube has seen fit to tinker with how they do things, and for whatever reason, the cards just don't work, which is unfortunate because, I mean, I really like putting them there. All I ask for is $1 a month and $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you, help me to help you, bring figures like B-112 to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of this channel. But as I always say, if you can't do $1 a month or $12 a year, your views of the videos are the ultimate sign of support. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. This is your old pal Chuck for B-112 Cybertronian Bumblebee. We will see you next time.